Welcome the audience back to Drive Next. Today we're spending time with one of the most consistently praised compact cars of the last decade, a car that has built its reputation not only on reliability, but on personality, design confidence, and driving engagement. This is the 2026 Mazda 3, and after spending the past several days living with it, pushing it, and cruising with it, I'm finally ready to tell you whether Mazda's latest evolution of their beloved compact continues to stand ahead of the pack. Even from a distance, the 2026 model brings something familiar yet noticeably sharpened. Mazda sticks to its design philosophy of sleek, uninterrupted surfaces, but the refinement here goes deeper. Approaching the front, the first thing you notice is the grille, now subtly wider and more three-dimensional, almost like it's carved into the front fascia rather than simply attached. The edges taper inward with a sense of tension, as if the whole car is leaning forward, ready to pounce. The headlights are thinner, with a new LED signature that looks like an arrow blade slicing through the air. They flicker on with a crisp animation when you unlock the car, adding a sense of ceremony. What Mazda has managed to do is keep the recognizable face of the Mazda 3 intact while giving it a slightly more mature, premium identity. Walking along the side, the character of the car really becomes clear. Many compact cars rely on sharp creases and aggressive body cuts to create visual interest, but Mazda goes the opposite direction, choosing simple, flowing shapes that shift and shimmer depending on how the light hits them. On the 2026 model, the shoulder line has been gently resculpted, smoothing out the transition from the front fender to the rear quarter panel. The proportion remains classic Mazda 3, long hood, short overhangs, and a slightly rear-leaning stance that hints at sportiness even before the engine fires up. The wheel options go up to 19 inches on the higher trims, and these new multi-spoke designs balance elegance and aggression. What stands out most from the side profile, though, is how balanced the car looks low without seeming slammed, sporty without appearing cartoonish. Mazda understands subtlety better than most automakers in this price range, and it shows. Now, moving toward the rear of the 2026 Mazda 3. The design language continues in a way that feels cohesive rather than forced. The taillights are now a bit more sculpted, with circular LED elements that glow like hot metal rings. There's a mild redesign in the bumper, giving the car a cleaner and more tailored appearance. The hatchback version, in my opinion, remains the more visually daring of the two body styles, with its slightly tapered roofline and thick rear pillars. But even the sedan manages to look like something you'd expect from a much higher price bracket. Dual exhaust outlets remain visible on the sportier trims, and Mazda has resisted the temptation to fake vents or throw in unnecessary plastic pieces. It's clean, simple, and confident in itself, which is something I wish more manufacturers would embrace. Opening the door and stepping into the interior reveals what might be the strongest evolution of this new model year. If there's one thing Mazda has been excelling at for years, it's building interiors that feel premium without becoming flashy. The 2026 Mazda 3 improves on that philosophy with better materials, tighter panel gaps, and a slightly more modern interface. The dashboard sweeps horizontally, with a new floating-style touchscreen that finally supports faster processing, a sharper UI, and cleaner animations. The good thing is that Mazda hasn't abandoned the physical controller knob in the center console, allowing drivers to interact with the system without poking at a screen while driving. The seats in this model have been slightly rebolstered, offering better long-distance support while keeping that soft yet durable feel Mazda uses so well. There's more attention to detail in the stitching, the air vent trim, and even the steering wheel buttons, which now have a more measured click. Sitting in the driver's seat, visibility remains strong, although the thick rear pillars on the hatchback still create a noticeable blind spot, something returning Mazda 3 owners are already familiar with. The digital gauge cluster is improved for 2026, now offering configurable layouts rather than the semi-digital setup of earlier models. Mazda's design language remains calm and minimal, though, so even with more information available, it never feels cluttered or overwhelming. The rear seats, as always, are best suited for average-height adults or children. This isn't a class-leading back seat, but it's perfectly functional, and the compromise is worth it for the Mazda 3's sleek roofline and proportions. Driving the 2026 Mazda 3 is where everything clicks together, because Mazda, at its core, builds cars for people who actually enjoy driving. The base engine remains a naturally aspirated four-cylinder, smooth and predictable, perfect for commuting, but the star continues to be the turbocharged four-cylinder available on higher trims. With its strong mid-range power and refined delivery, the turbo Mazda 3 moves with a satisfying authority that never feels cheap or strained. The 2026 tuning is slightly revised, making throttle response a bit more immediate without becoming jumpy. Steering remains one of the best in the segment, firm enough to communicate what the front wheels are doing, yet light at low speeds for city maneuvering. The suspension is tuned to strike that hard-to-achieve balance between comfort and athleticism. It absorbs rough sections of pavement with maturity, yet in corners, it stays flat and confident. Mazda's emphasis on driver engagement continues to set the 3 apart from rivals that prioritize softness over connection. Noise insulation is improved for 2026 as well. There's noticeably less road noise on the highway, and the turbo engine sounds more refined when pushed. Paired with Mazda's latest safety suite, which now includes smoother adaptive cruise behavior and better lane centering, long drives feel more relaxed than before. The one area where some drivers might feel limited is the transmission. Mazda continues to stick with its 6-speed automatic rather than joining the pack of 8+ speed gearboxes. But honestly, the shifts are so smooth and well-timed, and the gearbox so predictable, that it never feels outdated. Mazda seems to value character over chasing numbers, and in this case, it works. When it comes to pricing, the 2026 Mazda 3 lands in a familiar but slightly elevated space. The entry-level trims remain competitive, aimed at buyers who want a stylish commuter without spending much beyond a typical compact car range. Moving up to the better-equipped trims brings a noticeable jump, but the interior quality and daily experience arguably justify the price. The turbocharged trims naturally land even higher, but they offer a level of refinement and performance that edges into entry-level luxury territory without requiring luxury brand budget. Mazda continues to position the 3 as a value premium product, something with the soul of a luxury compact but the reliability and cost of ownership advantages of a mainstream brand. After spending enough time with the 2026 Mazda 3 to understand what it is and what it entails, I can say that Mazda hasn't lost its touch. This car continues to be a standout in a segment where many competitors are chasing trends rather than building something with identity. The Mazda 3 knows what it wants to be: simple, elegant, thoughtfully engineered, and genuinely enjoyable to drive. It's not the roomiest, not the cheapest, and not the most tech-stuffed car in its class, but it might be the most satisfying, and that counts for a lot. For drivers who want a compact car with real personality, real refinement, and real engagement, the 2026 Mazda 3 deserves to stay on the short list. Thanks for watching Drive Next, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want to see reviewed next. Until then, drive safe, and I'll see you in the next one.